y'all, I'm Carole. Welcome to my Creating Corner. I'm so glad you found me. Please hit subscribe, ring that bell, and come create with me again. Today I am using some of these beautiful papers from the Woven Threads Designer Series paper set. Aren't these just, oh, I love these colors. They're just beautiful. Look at that. Is that not striking? But for the most part, they're just so nice and calming. One side has a little bit more drama. The other side can be used in so many different ways. I like this one. This is probably one of my favorites in this paper set. Aren't these just beautiful? So, I liked the calm of them. My neighborhood had an unusual event last week. A tornado came through. When something like that happens and you can see the damage, you really just want to curl up under a soft, cozy quilt and ignore everything outside your windows, if you have any windows left. Well, Tina Zink, a demonstrator in Canada, and I'll put her info in the box below, she had done a quilt card, and I thought a sweet, cozy quilt card would be just the thing to send to my neighbors to cheer them up. So, this is my version. I'll put all the measurements below, but just to give you a heads up, you will need your typical card base, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4, your inside panel of 5 1/4 by 4. You'll use a Seaside Spray panel, and that is 4 by 5 1/4, and then another Whisper White panel that's 3 3/4 by 5. You'll also use a piece of scrap white and 24 inches of cotton thread. Like this little box, this is from the Christmas Advent calendar in Stampin' Up's 2019 holiday catalog. So it's finding a wonderful use all year long, holding my threads and other embellishments. But anyway, so you'll need 24 inches of the linen thread. I've used a sentiment from Colorful Seasons, Just Breathe, because honestly, when something like this happens, you just have to breathe. And I've also used Thinking of You from Beautiful Moments. Now this set is really cool. It matches up really well. The sizes are perfect to go with the gentleman in A Good Man. So you can have your whole little family going on there. And the pregnant girl from Wonderful Moments, she's the right size too. I mean, you could make whatever kind of family setup you want. It's awesome. Okay, but back to this card. Back to this card. On this card, I put the Just Breathe on the outside. The one that we're going to do today together, I'm going to put that inside. And I love using dies inside the card for a little something special. So today the card we're making is going to have the Thinking of You on the outside and Just Breathe on the end. Alrighty. This card also uses 32 1-inch squares. You know, if you have a lot of scraps, a quilt card is just the thing to use some of those scraps up. I do recommend that you have at least 4 different designs picked out. If you have 4 different designs, then you'll actually have 8 combinations to choose from for the front of your card. So, well, let's get started. Let me get my ink pads, my Terracotta Tile, and Seaside Spray ink pads out of the way. Let me move my stamps and get this card front underway. Now, to begin the card front, you need to, let me take the paper clips off my little stacks. Okay, now to begin, You take your little 1-inch square and your little edges here, you're going to line these up along the bottom edge of your card, right at the corner and right along the bottom edge. Yes, it's going to flop over and we're going to trim that off afterwards, but that's what we're going to aim for. Let me put a little dab of glue on here. Oops, I think I put a little too much. Let's borrow some for that one. There we go. Now line it up, edgy edgy. There we go. And we're going to do that with this next piece. Edge, edge. And we're just going to continue until we fill up the entire card front. Yes, you do get a bit of glue on your fingers, but it's okay. We're washable people, right? We can wash, we can get cleaned off. And now here, when you get to this edge, you're going to have, oops, you're going to make sure that you've got that point lined up, and then this corner comes up to here. Once you get this first row done, everything else is just fill it in as you go. I would recommend you not have the same pattern against itself, so you do have to pay attention to how you're putting them down so that it is alternating. And remember, going up the sides, I've got it edged on the corner. And now we're coming in. Coming in. There we go. Oops. Put it down. Okay. Let's put this one next. No, this one next. We're done gluing the card front down. We're going to go back and trim off the excess once it dries a little bit. So let me put this aside. Let me put that over there, get the rest of these out of the way. And now it's time for our stamping. I'm going to go ahead and grab my Terracotta Tile ink. Oops. And with the Thinking of You sentiment from Beautiful Moments, remember, when you're using these stamp pads, you just tap, tap, tap. And that way you don't get any ink all around the edge. Gives you what's called a halo. So we just tap, tap, tap. Stamp it down to make sure that your stamp is completely stamped up, inked up rather, and it is. So we're good to go. So tap, 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 re-ink it. And I'm going to stamp on my scrap there. Okay, let me grab my simple chamois and clean it off perfectly clean. Now, while I've got my ink out, I'm going to go ahead and do my inside panel. Now, I am using the Just Breathe from Colorful Seasons. Now, this is a photopolymer stamp. To get a nice crisp impression on photopolymer, quite often we're going to want to stamp on a pad. So I'm just going to use my piercing mat here. Okay, stamp, tap, tap, tap. It's completely inked up. Tap, tap, tap. And I'm going to go ahead and get it right about there. Just breathe. Yes. Lovely. Now let me clean my stamp off. These photopolymers do stain after a bit of use, and I've used this one a lot, but it does not affect the quality of your stamp, of your stamped image, as you can see. Alright, now we're ready to cut. I did get some ink on my block, and I got a little ink on there, but that is not going to matter because it is time to actually do some cutting. So I'm going to grab my Big Shot. You know, you can use whatever cutting machine you have, but I'm using a Big Shot, and I am using the precision plate because I'm doing some precision cutting. This is the Tasteful Backgrounds die set, and I love these dies in here. I use this one a lot, but today I'm using this one. Put that there. I'm going to set this up right along the bottom. There we go. Guess that's about even. Through. I'm going to do it a couple times, make sure it gets cut clear. Okay, and I'm also now going to run through the sentiment. Now, these rectangle dies, you get just about any size rectangle you could want, and then also this, more of a square. So this is the one I'm using for this piece. Straight. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Perfect. And put these away so I don't drop them everywhere. And let's see here. Okay. This one didn't cut as cleanly as I've experienced in the other cards I made, but I tell you what, it's not a big deal. Let me just grab this. The Take Your Pick tool. Oops, sorry about that. The Take Your Pick tool comes with, well, you can get these really nifty extra little attachment-y things. There we go. Just run it over and got just about all of them out. Let me just poke one or two. There. That's fine. There we go. Loverly, loverly, loverly. Okay. Oops. There's knots there. Let's put that aside. Nice. Okay. We can go ahead and put this inside the card, actually. Get my cards back here. Let's go ahead and put this inside the card. See, I like stamping them before I attach them. That way there's no upside down, and if you really made a mistake with your stamping, it's not a problem, just redo. Just breathe. Isn't that so pretty? I love the peekaboo. I love the peekaboo. Okay, let's come back to our, well, we can go ahead and put this on also. There we go. Nice. Okay, now I had gone ahead and ended up using the silicone mat as the base because you know, when you've got the glue running over, it does tend to get a bit sticky. Okay, so I've got my glue scissors here. You know, I've got the little tie on there. It's the little warning thing. These are only to be used for glue, or don't use these, don't use any other scissors, let me put it that way, if there's something that's got sticky on it, because I don't want other scissors getting gummed up. Believe me, these get gummed up. So I'm just trimming off all of the little pieces that, see that? You don't want those on your good paper snips. No, no, no. So there we are. Let's just make sure everything is neatly cut off. Lovely. And now we're going to put this in place here. Now, the softest, coziest quilts have those little strings on them. Those little knots, the little love knots, where all of the different quilted pieces come together, and that is what we are using our 24 inches of thread for. Let me show you how we do that. We're going to tie a knot, and you will not pull it tight, because if you pull it tight then it'll disappear. But just kind of pull it down and then tie another knot straight on top of it. Where am I? Can't get it. Oh, I'm such a fumble. There we go. Then tie another knot straight on top of it, and that way you have enough of a knot that you can see it and do something. And then you're just going to snip it off. Snip it off. You're going to grab a glue. If you don't get glue or ink on your fingers when you're crafting, did the crafting really happen? So you're going to put your glue dot on your card at a junction, and then you're going to put your little tie on there, just like that. We will go back and trim them off if they're a little too long. We'll trim the edges. So I'm going to go ahead and put the glue dots on all of the edges first. Okay, yes, that takes a little bit of time, but it's so worth it. It just gives it that cozy factor. Okay, now let's just pop this front sentiment on and we will be done. Oh, well, let's go ahead and put some dimensionals on the back. And I think in order to soften this card and kind of tie it all together, I'm going to hit the edges with just a tad bit of the Seaside Spray. So just kind of like to get the thread marks where the threads are. There we go. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. And pop that right about there. Okay. Oh, let's put, of course we have to have some bling. Let's grab a couple little pearls. Put one there. Put one there. And let's put one there. Oh, actually, I think if we put pearls like, oh, that's what I should do. Yes. Right there. Thinking of you. Okay. Yeah, it's not a good idea to try to move the pearls. There. Isn't that sweet? Thinking of you. Just breathe. What good advice to give. So which one do you like better? The big sentiment on the front or the little? So anyways, I do hope you like the card. If you do, please give it a thumbs up. If you're in the US and you don't have a demonstrator, I would be thrilled to help you get your stamping supplies. Just visit https://creatingwithcarole.stampinup.net, and that's Carole with an E. And let's get to know each other. Visit me on Facebook at Made with Love. So until next time, and keep making the world a beautiful place, and take a look down below for all the materials to help you make the world a beautiful place with a nice cozy little quilt. Thank you so much. Bye.